Welcome back to our special assessment series. Today we are sharing stories of assessments from 15 to 30 years ago. The reason behind that is to show exactly what we can expect now that we know 50% of our condos in America were built 30 years ago, and nothing has changed in regards to regulation or reserve study practices. The biggest difference is the volume of these stories we're going to be seeing over the next decade. But wouldn't we rather face these assessments and know the condition of the building we are living in so that we don't have to ever face another tragedy like the one in Miami 2 years ago? Stay tuned to the end and I'll share some specific guidance as to how to ensure your condo purchase is a safe one for you. Special assessments in condos are nothing new. Back in the 90s, a condo development on the waterfront in Boston assessed each of their owners $15,000 to replace windows and to waterproof the development. A very common assessment that should be considered in budgeting, but rarely is. Something you'll find clearly defined in a reserve study, though. About 15 years later, that same development faced an emergency issue with their HVAC and corroded plumbing. One would have hoped the owners from the early 90s would have done a better job of planning and budgeting after the surprise they had to face, but as you keep hearing me say, in an industry that is not regulated, honestly, how would they know what to do? Or what can they do if the vote doesn't pass? This time, they were each assessed an average of $120,000 per condo owner. Of course, these assessments are calculated based on the size of the unit you own, so the larger units paid up to $400,000. Sticking to the Boston area today, these next two examples are associated with condos in Brookline. The first development assessed their owners an average of $50,000 per condo to replace their HVAC in 2006. Then in 2007, down the street in the same neighborhood, another condo development was assessed $160,000 per owner for an emergency generator, garage flooring, and brick exterior. As you can see, this is not a new problem. The big problem is the number of condos across America that are the same age as the condos mentioned before. Condos started in 1960 in America, and 50% of them were built 30 years ago. So the stories I just shared from 15 to 30 years ago are going to become more common than we would like. Nothing has changed in this unregulated industry since 1960, other than reserves are not funded, and now more buildings than ever are in need of major repairs. What can you do? Don't purchase a condo if they don't have a current reserve study to review. If their reserves don't match what is recommended in that study, then make sure you budget accordingly in preparation for the expected assessments to repair or replace the components mentioned. Unfortunately, without a reserve study, there is absolutely no way of knowing the value of the condo you are purchasing. It's like purchasing a single-family home without an inspection. If there are major things wrong with the home you are purchasing, wouldn't you negotiate the sales price or have the components fixed or walk away? Your condo appraisal and inspection do not include the detailed building inspection that is included in a reserve study. If you have a reserve study but the reserves don't match, then you can negotiate the sales price with the seller because you will be stuck with the repair or replacement of those components by the amount listed on that reserve study if you still own the condo at the time the issue needs to be addressed. So now, are you able to see how you don't know the value of the condo you are purchasing even with an appraisal and inspection if there is no reserve study? It's impossible. It's also impossible to know if the HOA has reserved enough across the board without a reserve study. If you need further assistance individually or for you and your HOA, please reach out. We're here to help. Also, if you want to keep up to date on condo education and legislation, hit subscribe or click the link in our bio below to follow our blog. Thank you and have a great day.